I'm Clay Newman. This is the Zoo Review.
Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite floppy swamp dinosaurs, the great blue heron. Now, they're pretty common, so you've probably seen one around. They can be found in bodies of water across North America. They're smoky gray blue in color, and they've got a cool black racing stripe across their face. And there are actually a couple different subspecies. One is all white, but they live in Florida, so we're not going to talk about them. We already know that things get whiter when they live in Florida. They've got slow, floppy wings and that goofy S-shaped neck. Plus, their feathers are sort of long and stringy and, dare I say, gross. But they've got a mohawk, and that gets you adorable points. In this category, they got a score of 11. The great blue heron is the largest of North American herons. They stand up to 5 feet tall with a wingspan over 6 feet wide, but they're not thick. They're only about 5 pounds at their biggest. If you're a small animal of any kind, they are scary creatures. By sea or by land, if it thinks it can fit you in its beak, it'll fuck you up. They're so much bigger than other wading birds that they'll actually hang out with other species because they're not even competition. The great blue heron is catching fish. Those other ones will never try. They are quick and lethal, and frankly, I think the crane robbed them for the Kung Fu title. Plus, when it's breeding season, their eyes turn red. That's scary as fuck. As far as badassness goes, pretty good for a bird. They got 13 points. How intelligent are the great blue herons? Well, they nest with other species of birds, which takes a little bit of social skills. Plus, they're smart enough to nest high off the ground, unless, of course, they're on an island without any predators. The breeding ritual of these birds are pretty interesting. The male picks the nesting site and then tries to attract the female to it. The sexy bird dances are, of course, quite neck-oriented. Once they partner up, the male will find material while the female assembles the nest because herons still live in the 1950s. Both parents incubate the eggs, and both parents feed those baby chicks in that classic disgusting bird vomit kind of way. They migrate sometimes. Sometimes they don't, depending on where they live, and frankly, they don't even need to live near a body of water if conditions are right. All of these things go towards intelligence points, but the biggest killer of herons in the wild is herons eating things that can't fit in their stupid throat. Oh, herons, this is going to cost you so many points. They will regularly stab a lamprey, a big-ass fish, a gopher that's way too big for it, something that can't actually fit down its gullet, and then they'll choke and die. That's the dumbest way to go out. Animals are just built to eat, you fucking moron. You're going to die because of it? Oh, this really hurts you in intelligence. You get a score of 5. Now, even though they're too stupid to swallow food sometimes, they are master waders, excellent hunters in that category. Their long, skinny legs can allow them to keep from getting wet, and more importantly, keep from disturbing fish as it's walking around the water. They have great eyesight. They can even pick up colors human beings can't even process because they have UV receptors. They're lightning fast, their strike takes well under a second, and they don't grab animals like their beaks or chopsticks. No, they're stabbing those dudes. They've been seen using floating kelp as a surface to hunt from, and sometimes they'll even try to hover and snatch up fish. All very oppressive traits, but they choke to death because they don't realize the fish is too big. How fucking stupid are you? It's costing you special skills points too. You only got a score of 8. Will they make it? They are officially listed as least concern. That's not very good English, but it is pretty good news for the great blue heron. Now, they used to be shot somewhat regularly, not because they're good eating, but because they are easy targets and people are monsters. Now, of course, human activity will disturb their breeding area every once in a while, but the fact remains they can be found at any body of water ranging from an ocean to a delicious-ass koi pond in your backyard. In this category, these birds got 16 points. Well, the scores are in, the results are tallied, and the great blue heron wound up with 53 points. That's good enough for 15th place. Not horrible. Right in between the black and white ruffed lemur and the golden lion tamarin. Hopefully those animals do never meet in the wild, because I got a feeling the great blue heron would just stab those adorable primates to death and then choke on those corpses, you fucking idiot. Special thanks to my buddy Tom Nestor out there in San Francisco. Thank you for letting me borrow your awesome animal pictures. He's a good follow on Instagram. Thank you guys again for watching. As always, I very much appreciate it. If you want to support, just share this shit. Let's get the views over 10 this week, you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.